What's going on, fellow tryhards? It's Tom with Tryhard Gaming, bringing you back a brand new video and a brand new deck profile, something that I've been working on for a little bit now. I took this deck to locals at one point, but just played the pure variant. So this is going to be my version of not the pure variant, but the PK Horus Adventure version. So I really, after doing some testing, I really enjoy how the deck plays and feels. This is kind of one of the decks that, as of recent, that I actually enjoy playing and enjoy piloting, because I like the rank 3 engine, I like XYZ, and I like being able to link. So this deck does it all in that sense, so I really enjoy it. And plus, it gets me ready for the Goblin Rider lineup. So if you're not used to playing the Goblin Rider lineup, or if you're trying to get ready to, this is probably one of the better decks to play to kind of get yourself ready, because this is literally rank 3 turbo with a bunch of extra friends. So kind of a preface to this: whenever I picked this deck up, I picked this deck off of my buddy Rodney. He had a good portion of the core, and shout out to Rodney for introducing this deck to me, because after learning how the deck plays, I fell in love with it as a rank 3 turbo deck, and now it's going to be able to make rank 8s. Another preface to this: I don't have Photon Lord in here. It's getting a reprint here soon, so I'm waiting until the reprint happens to get my copy. And plus, you can kind of subsidize it. From what I've seen from people who play this deck competitively, they say they never went into it, even with 3M SETI. There's only one in this deck as of right now, but I do plan on getting the other two. So right now it's 40 cards flat. It will make it 42 if you throw in the other two in SETI. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it and see what all we can find out. So as you can see, we have your 1-card starter, which is your Torn Scales. So Torn Scales is just a really good card overall. Whenever it's summoned, it doesn't do anything on summon, but you can activate its effect to discard a card, as well as Foolish a PK card. So being able to Foolish one and then discard one at the same time, you're just able to do quite a bit. This part plays around roll to the first, for the most part. So, but this deck does die to draw, so keep that in mind, because if this deck gets drolled, it's kind of over. But we do main board stuff to mitigate that as well. But this is just a really good card overall. Your 1-card starter also has a graveyard recursion effect for when a PK is banished, that you're able to bring this back and special summon it, but banish it when it leaves the field. And then you're able to overlay it or link off with it again. So this is just a really good card to have in your toolbox. So next card we have here is going to be your extender for the PK stuff. And I know I don't have matching rarities here. It's just what I get my hands on. Have the 3 Silent Boots. This is your extender. If you control a level 3 monster, you're just able to special it, just to be able to do whatever you need. Excuse me, if you control a PK monster. I'm thinking of the Psychic package. And this card in the graveyard is able to banish itself to search for a PK spell or trap. So this is a really good card. And then the last few PKs that we run is we run the 2 Cloak, which is your Omni search for PK stuff. Just able to search any PK card, which why not? And it gives your monsters a 800 attack buff if you decide to reborn it off of any of your other reborn effects, and as well as when you banish it to search, you're able to bring it back off of Leviair. So I think this is really good. And then the last Phantom Knight's name is your Giga Gloves. So Giga Gloves is just, again, another important utility card to have in this deck. So I would recommend running this at 1, but I don't think you'd run any more than 1 for this. So that's the monsters in the PK engine. The traps that we run of course, the 2 Fogblade. Fogblade is just really good. I love Fogblade. Not only is it a monster, an on-field monster negate when it equips, but it prevents it from attacking, as well as whenever this is sent to the graveyard. Then, not when it's sent to the graveyard, but while it's in your graveyard, you can banish it and then special summon a PK monster. So this is just an extender as well, and brings stuff back out from the graveyard, so very important to have. And then my one-of trap that I think is going to be extremely important in this format, PK Wings. So this card lets you target a card on field and prevent it from being destroyed. So if you are playing, if you're playing against Fire King and they just open up Ponix and they get out, if they get out their, if they get out Fire King Island and they go Island Effect and they only open up Ponix and they don't open any other extender, then you're just able to go, okay, go Wings, target Ponix, and then they can't pop Ponix in order to search for Garunix. So this kind of shuts the whole thing down. Debated on running more of this because it's just really good utility card right now, and whenever it's in the graveyard, it also has the effect to special summon a PK monster from the graveyard. So it seems like all the traps have that, so it's another extender, like quasi extender, but it also shuts down a lot of the pop cards. I know this was teched in for Unchained when it was big, so I think this is definitely going to be used now. If you're playing this deck, I think you have to play this. And that kind of covers the PK engine, so let's go ahead and get into the Horus engine. So I only have one Msetti, but again, I do plan on getting 2 more. So this would be at 3 if you build this. I know if you're doing a budget build, you probably don't want to run the Horus engine because he's $60-something right now as of recording this video. But I think this is currently the best way to play this deck. And I think the Horus engine just does a whole lot. Being able to send stuff off your sarcophagus and being able to send stuff with him is just really good. And the other Horus cards you run the one Dumatef, the one Happy, and the one Cubit Sinuef. All these are good utility. This card, after reading it, I think this one's actually one of the best ones out of the bunch, because I think one says you can't, it's either Sark or this card that says you can't target, or you can only target with effects to target Horus monsters, and this one prevents you from targeting. So it just kind of locks all your Horus from being destroyed in a way. And I mean, all of these have like these secret effects or like hidden effects that people call, and they're really good. And of course, you can't have the Horus engine without your 3F Sark. Sark's just crazy, right? I mean, again, being able to pitch stuff from your hand and foolish a card and then just immediately bring them all back is just really, really good. And it's a good rank 8 engine. So now, as for the next engine we have is the Adventure engine. So a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people only run 2 Right, but my list, I run, the 1 and 1. I run the 1 Draco back and the 1 Fateful. I think, I don't think any more than 1 is needed. I think it's just good at 1, as well as this card being at 1. I think that both of that's just kind of stock and standard. I don't think you want to change that. And then, of course, you have 3 Right. I think this is good at 3. I think you want to see this card as much as you can. You don't want to brick on it, though. I mean, you still want to see it, but I think 3 is one of the main. That's kind of a mainstay for me. Every time I've run the Adventure engine, I like running 3 up over like 1 or 2. Mainly, like I said, I mainly see people run 2, but I think 3 is just optimal for this. Keeps the consistency high. And then you have the monsters, which is 1 Griffin Rider and your 3 Water Enchantress. So this is the card that gets you 2 Right. And then you just kind of cascade off of that and just keep going into your Adventure engine and just keep getting further and further until you have Fateful Adventure, a token, Wanderer, Griffin Rider, and Draco back. And then you can start doing your normal plays with your PK engine. There we go. So that is the Adventure engine. And then lastly, we have your general utility and hand traps. So we've got your Foolish Burial, got your 1 Called By, and we've got your 1 Rhoda. So This is usually whenever you're usually pitching any sort of PK name at this point. Especially if you open up this and like King Sark, then you definitely just pitch stuff like that. This is to get around draw and to get around just any other generic hand trap that you might want to try to play around, but this is definitely something that you save for draw. Rhoda lets you search out a good amount of the PK stuff, if not all of it. And then again, Foolish Burial, just to be able to send a card to the graveyard is really strong in this deck because this deck plays out of the graveyard. So there's those, and then lastly we have our hand traps. We have your 3 Imperm, which again, I don't think this card is going to be as impactful. I'm running it right now because there's a lot of back row stuff going on, and in this upcoming set there's a lot of pendulum stuff floating around, so I think it might not be a bad idea to keep this, and plus it's just super generic. But if I were to change this to anything for this deck, it's just specifically a tech for this deck would be Forbidden Droplet, because you're able to not only negate something, but you're also able to pitch something for per cost, and just be able to like pitch a PK name and just be able to go up on that and be able to search. And of course your other generics, your Ash Blossom, which, you know, kind of self-explanatory. No searching, no specials, and you know, no foolishing. So I think that's really good to have as well. And then of course you have to have the Glock Bird, the Drolling Glock Bird. So just to be able to lock somebody out of a turn, this card just devastates anything. It devastates this deck. It devastates literally Vanadium, or Field Spell Turbo is what I like to call it. I think it's just really good to have this right now, especially in this format. Again, I've kind of fluctuated depending on the event that I'm playing at. These 3 kind of interchange between main and side. Ash is definitely a stay right now because it's just super generic. Imperm and Droll are like the only ones that I'm kind of on the fence about. I've started maining Droll just for the pure fact that there's a lot of decks that search real hard, and then Imperm again is just a generic hand trap, and you don't play into talents or thrust. So I think this is just generic as can be right now, and the other ones that I couldn't decide on I put in the sideboard. So, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get into our extra deck. So we'll go ahead and go over the XYZs first. So we have your half our big boys here, the big rank 13s, or excuse me, rank 12s. You got the T-Fawn, which is just a generic overlay into a bounce. And then you have Zeus, which of course in an XYZ deck, or predominantly XYZ deck, you're going to want to run this. I mean, it's just a given, right? I enjoy running both of these. I think they're really good cards. Typhon might actually not be as good this format. I've seen a lot of people say that this card is absolutely cracked right now, but I think as of right now, it's not as strong as it could be. Just for the pure fact that if Fire King is going to be the best deck in the room, then this is definitely not going to be that vital, because all the monsters in Fire King, besides Flameburge, don't really care about his effect. So there's the 2 big boss monsters, and then we have your rank 3s. These are your generic ones. We have your Leviair and your Bamboozler, your Bamboozling Gossip Shadow. I use this as like my quote-unquote Photon Lord replacement, because it can help you get around Nibiru. It changes Nibiru's effect to draw a card, or both players draw a card, so I think this is really good. This is, I haven't seen a whole lot of people play this card competitively as of recent, but this card, being able to special something back from your banished that is a level 4 or lower, this card is insane. There's been many games where I've been just a few hundred life points off of swinging for game, and I have this card on field. I use its effect and I have, I'm able to go into Rusty Bardich after having this on field, and then bringing back one of usually Ancient Cloak, because Ancient Cloak has the hidden ability to where you can you mainly summon it in attack, and then whenever you can change it to defense position, give something an 800 attack. So if there's something you're really trying to beat over and you just need that little bit more oomph, you usually give the extra 800 to Rusty Bardich and just kind of swing and just do your thing with it. So this card's really good tech for me, and again, I don't have as many level 8s in here because again, I don't have the full engine as well as, or the full Horus engine as well as the Photon Lord. So, but these cards are really good by themselves as well. I feel like this card's going to be really important coming up as well. Next one we have the actual PK XYZ Dragon, all that mess. So we got your 2 PK Break Sword. I think this is just a generic, just a generically good 2 of. I think 3 is too many. It kind of clogs up the extra deck, and I think you want to at least get into one of these, and just being able to pop it and bring 2 things back and make them level 4, which gets you into your next card, which is your Raider's Knight. This card also allows you to rank up. So like these 3 cards kind of, or these 2 cards kind of intermingle with each other. If you're trying to swing for game, then you go into your big boy, Arc Rebellion. This is your OTK card. This is literally if they have everything on field and they have a full board, they can't really do anything about this, and you go into this, then you literally win the game because it just sucks up all the attack and swings for game. So that's the main like XYZ PK stuff for the XYZs. And then we have your rank 8s. I've only got 2 in here right now. I've got the Sanafond for specifically the Fire King matchup. And then we have a Zombie Vampire, which being able to special stuff from either graveyard is really, really good. Really strong. So I don't think that there's there's much of a problem using this. I think it's really strong right now. The next ones we have is the Link monsters. So most of these are kind of generic as well. So it's like you have Cherubini. Cherubini's just foolish a card for cost. Again, this is an extender. This can get you into other PK monsters, and I really recommend if you're not using this in a PK build, even if you're not running the Horus Adventure stuff, or if you're running some other sort of variant, then I would highly recommend you running this if you're not running it now. And then we have your other, I guess your other generic rank 2, your Dark. This deck can't really run Hida unless you normal summon Ash. So I just run Dark as of right now, and being able to steal a lot of stuff out of your opponent's graveyard, like being able to steal SP. I mean, that's insane, right? Being able to steal SP or IP, then just kind of run with it. This card isn't crazy for just that. So, and then of course we can't have this deck without having IP and SP. So, you know, being able to link during your opponent's turn, making SP is really good. It's just insane, right? And then, of course, your last one. You can't have a PK deck without old Rusty. So Rusty Bardich is just one of the other main PK cards that is able to extend and set you a card as well, or set a PK card. So I recommend keeping this card at all times for this build. If you're not running at least one of him in this deck, I think it's not the way to play it because you need Rusty. Now we have, last but not least, your side deck. So, side deck, we have your board, your back row removal, which is your 3 duster, your 1 duster, 3 dusters pretty much, your 1 duster and your 2 lightning storms. So I think these are, again, just mandatory right now with Labyrinth being a thing and just being able to have all these other back row decks. This is extremely important. An oddball one that I haven't really seen as of recent, but I like to run it because again, backer removal, and it also gets rid of a lot of, you know, it's a very much so an anti-destroy card. Being able to evenly match somebody right now is insane. If you hit a Fire King player with evenly matched and it resolves, then you just kind of banish everything they need, and if they can't respond to it, then they're just done. Then of course, again, this is like we get into the hand trap part. This is where I kind of vary on what I want to keep and what I want to adjust in the main. 3 Nibiru, 3 Ghost Veil, and your 3 Crow. So of course six graveyard hate cards. All 6 of these cards, I thought about throwing in Bestials, but in this format, I think these 2 are probably the most generic, especially with Labyrinth. Bestials are really good against Labyrinth, but I don't think they're really good playing into Fire King because they don't have any darks. But these 2 are going to be able to do everything. This prevents a Monster Reborn. This just banishes a card, so it's just really good to have. Guys, that's going to be it for this video. I wanted to go ahead and do a brief shout out to you guys and say thank you for the 100 subscribers. We finally hit the 100. It's been less than a year. I started playing this game in January of last year is when I picked the game back up since high school. So it's hard to believe that it's like, do I even know 100 people in person? It's like, besides my family, do I know 100 people out and about? And to think about that is insane. So there's I guess some of you that I don't know in person, but if you're ever out in a tournament, you ever see me, please drop by, say hey. Usually whenever somebody comes by and they recognize me, or if they know the channel, I always try to give them a field center that I'm 3D printed. So that's something I like to do in the off time, especially when I go to these big events. I'll 3D print field centers and give them out to people. So if you see me at any local event, please reach out to me, and hopefully I have one on me, and I'll be more than happy to give you a field center that I made. But most importantly, where we hit 100, I do plan on giving out a box of Maze of Millennia. So maybe it'll hopefully one of you guys out there, whenever I decide to give you the in-depth details of what I'm actually going to be doing for the giveaway, which will be Friday, is when I'll be able to give you the full details. But I do plan on giving away a box of Maze of Millennia, and hopefully that can help out your wallets in getting a Bonfire or a Thrust or some sort of collector's rare or transaction rollback, even just any of these cards that you might need for this upcoming format. And it's odd because, again, if you'd have told me that I was going to be doing this by last year, then I'd have been like, I'm not going to spend all my money on cameras and stands and all that. It's like, I've got other things that I could be spending my money on. Well, here we are now. So I broke down and bought this camera. Found one online about a year ago, and this past Christmas I now have a GoPro, so we're able to do on-the-go videos a little bit better. And I do plan on doing vlog videos whenever we go to these bigger events. So thank you guys. I know it's early, but thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for being here for the start of it all. And remember, try hard, try hard. See you next time, guys.